Good afternoon, I am Precious Mzea Sakaleji. Welcome to Camnet TV Midday News. The headlines. 42-year-old physically challenged man of KANYAMA compound in need of financial support. By-elections a necessary evil to advancing democracy, charges geared. Join me with the details after this commercial.
Team, the trajectory of the business looks very positive, and it looks like we'll be able to launch the ministry.
There's so much data.
Mom?
Yes, Stevie?
It says here, global warming and climate change is caused by the pollution from careless activities of human beings.
Wow!
Son, do you know I can turn my phone into a TV remote?
How's that possible?
It's so easy. Check this out.
Be smart, be fast with mega data from Zamtel. Get your 15 GB mobile data for only 100 kwacha, 30 GB mobile data for only 200 kwacha, and your 70 GB LTE data bundle with free Netflix, YouTube, Facebook, and WhatsApp. Visit our Facebook page, website, or service centers countrywide for more information. Zamtel, your digital lifestyle partner.
Another media news in detail. A 42-year-old physically challenged man who has a bedridden wife with a face of poverty written all over has appealed to well-wishers to help boost his business. Friday Chilembo, a man whose disability is as a result of a car accident encountered in 2018, has told Camnet News that taking care of his bedridden wife in the current condition has been challenging. Mr. Chilembo, who barely makes ends meet through making floor mats with recycled plastics, says his business has the potential to excel, but he does not have enough resources to boost it. Camnet TV Friday morning visited the home of Mr. Chilembo.
Bedridden for 5 years now, this is the condition of a Lusaka woman who depends on a 42-year-old physically challenged husband for survival, whose condition was as a result of a car accident which occurred in 2018. Camnet TV visited the home of Friday Chilembo in Lusaka's KANYAMA compound to appreciate the poverty levels and how Mr. Chilembo has been sustaining himself and his bedridden wife. Mr. Chilembo has further explained that his wife is unable to walk or do any other activity except being in bed. He says despite having been taking her to the hospital in the last 5 years, the hospital has been unable to clearly state what might be the problem with his wife.
Hospital under the very few winner. Mabateka muno hospital utwasende olole umbi shibaranda swata just take him to the home uzwayangani so ndimo tumayanganira ndimankola kuti tumaenda kutenga but kuli treatment amitoona kuwa kuti muntu achinja kulipe ngala upeza ukangiwa ku clinic na kwa waenda kulipe zanchipani.
Refusing to give up on life, Mr. Chilembo had to learn how to make floor mats as a way of making ends meet. He is, however, unable to meet demand due to lack of resources to buy raw materials and has since appealed to government and well-wishers to help him with proper capital to help boost his business.
Nodwala so ile magalizo yangu nataka kulenga chitabu vochita vichita azanga nipuza kwa nchitu na chitabu vochita but pesa ti material nilibe capital nilibe so chimba cyo nikuza kuti nikazi mu balance na ina pesa kali wale mara futi kapeza max dikatisi ngadenze ko na mendo ngamatandiza kuti ni moyo wa muzanga so apa kulbe anga na muzake.
Mr. Chilembo and his wife have been blessed with 4 children, and that one of the children has been the one taking care of his wife while he is away.
Madam wanga ni mwana ana 25 years. Uzapeza kuti na hivi ashashi chikanga kuti popeza vakutandizo palipe. So mendo sakira aenda oda tumaveji aronga ma plastic amapitisamu apizao ka coin ndiye kubera manja kubula kutwa kudya tumanzi tuchani ndiye mwe ilili tandizo mimi naona kuti kulibe mimi zakwanisa ino so ntemba tati boma ngachite bwanje nganyangane ko maybe uchita babinga kwanisa mapali mpavu za sila.
His wish is also to see his 25-year-old daughter, who at the time Camnet visited his home had gone on the street to sell vegetables, get a stable job which will enable the family have some resources. Prudence Chota reporting for Camnet TV News.
The United Party for National Development UPND has scooped Katimba Ward local government by-elections in Monze district of Southern Province with a landslide. Brian Chingula of the UPND got 1,458 votes, followed by DP candidate Hakopa Guide, who pulled 106 votes, while the Leadership Movement candidate Brian Wemba got 47 votes, with the last being Patriotic Front candidate Frind Simahuna got 13 votes respectively. Only 1,656 people tend to cast their votes out of 2,690, the total number of registered voters in Katimba Ward, and 5 votes were rejected. Returning officer Sydney Hamuya declared Brian Chingula the duly elected councillor of Katimba Ward at 23 hours Thursday. And speaking after the declaration of results, UPND campaign manager Wongo Namatondo described the victory as an endorsement of continued peace, development and harmony in the country. Meanwhile, newly elected Councillor Brian Chingula thanked the people of Katimba Ward for entrusting him with the task to help take development to them. He promised not to disappoint on his developmental promises now that the people have spoken through the ballot.
First time seeing, a good number of ministers, a good number of, DCs, different, government officials coming just for a by-election, which is here in Katimba, where network is not there. There was a lot of resources that the government have so far used, which is not supposed to be like that. If they could have just sent 1 or 2 people, that shows to say there is pressure. Leadership movement, people have accepted it. That's the reason why the whole, almost all the vehicles from town were here, just to come and try to negotiate with the people that they should vote back to UPND, because we've made sure that those who were supporting them are now with us. Since now that we have seen to say they want to use in a lot of money just for a small by-election like this one, we are going to condemn that. I am personal as a provincial chairperson condemning the resources, the national resources that has been used, which is a high amount of money that they use. We saw a lot of vehicles, from State House, from Choma, from where, 2 helicopters for a by-election. Let's hope that they came for another thing, not only for the by-election. 2 helicopters, how much is that?
The Operation Young Vote has advised the Electoral Commission of Zambia to investigate what led to voter apathy in the just-ended by-election at local government level. Organization Executive Director Ges Nyirenda says the areas that recorded low turnout have been perceived to have been United Party for National Development stronghold, a situation he says calls for answers.
The just-ended by-elections in Zambia in 3 different provinces has seen a low voter turnout barely 8 months after the country held its general elections that saw a huge vote turnout. The country on Thursday, 14th April 2022, held mayoral by-elections in Mongu district of Western Province and 2 local government ward by-elections in Lututu ward of Luwingu town in Northern Province and Katimba ward of Monze Southern Province. Despite the United Party for National Development having scooped all the 3 by-elections, voter apathy was experienced in all the 3 areas, a situation that has been attributed to lack of voter sensitization. However, Operation Young Vote Executive Director Ges Nyirenda has challenged the government and the Electoral Commission of Zambia (ECZ) to ascertain what might have led to a voter apathy barely 8 months after the country held its general elections.
In some areas, those are areas that are strongholds for the UPND. What is happening are people already saying no to UPND, or are people fatigued? What is really the problem? And I think it would be very important that the ruling party, especially government and the ECZ, delves into this matter to ascertain what the problem really is, because if people are giving up so quickly and so easily, then we'll have a problem going forward in terms of the electoral process.
Mr. Nirenda has also wondered why the country has in the last 8 months held close to 10 by-elections when some of the by-elections could have been avoided.
We appreciate, yes, that there's nothing we can do when a by-election is caused by the demise of an area leader, whether it's a member of parliament, a councillor, or a chairperson, council chairperson, or a mayor, or anyone. That one we have really no problem and no control. But I think those by-elections that are caused by resignations, I think they are unacceptable. But also even the by-elections that are being caused by either nullification of people's seats, they are also quite concerning, because
he has since called to an end in by-election even as the country looks to constitutional reforms.
If, for example, a by-election is caused by the nullification of a seat of someone who is purported to have committed malpractices, then I think the best is to find a way of having the person that came out second, and if they are also not mad in the same malpractices or similar malpractices, let them take over, because then that it means that the people favored that person, but because of the malpractices that the person who came out first committed, then they were jeopardized in terms of winning. So I think we must find a way as a country, even as we do the legal and constitutional reforms.
By-elections are a drain to coffers of any government, thereby depriving development to important sectors. Therefore, laws in Zambia need to be amended to ensure that by-elections do not become a daily occurrence. Prudence Jota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Meanwhile, Gears Initiative Executive Director McDonald Jipenzi says the by-elections held on the 14th of April 2022 in western and southern provinces have demonstrated that political parties can still hold elections in a peaceful manner. He says this is a commendable and a good recipe for good democracy.
Is what we want to see in our democracy. This is the democracy we are looking for, the electoral democracy we are looking for, not of fists but of issues. We've seen that despite the unpopular decisions where fuel were being increased during the campaigns, still people had to vote for that political party. And it's very clear for any future political party that it's not about what you promise people. It's not about popularism. It is about how people feel when you talk to them, when you explain to them, and then they vote for you. We've seen that even DMMU was not as prominently in those areas as it were before, where we could see open bribery, open vote buying during elections. So we want to commend all political parties that took place. We want to commend those who have lost, those who have won, for making our electoral democracy work. And this is why we always contend that in as much as by-elections are being condemned, they are a necessary evil in our electoral democracy, and that's how we nurture our democracy, our electoral democracy. We are able to know which political party is gaining ground, which political party is declining in terms of support, and which political parties have continued to retain the support of the Zambian people.
In other news, Movement for Multi-Party Democracy founder, member and faction leader Gaston Sichilima says it is illegal for Nevis Mumba to go round the country to solicit for signatures, petitioning that the MMD joins the ruling United Party for National Development. Mr. Sichilima notes that the tours Dr. Mumba and his team have travelled to Kabwe, Chinsali, Kasama, Mansa, Kitwe and Solwezi, misleading MMD members in the provinces to sign a petition that would make MMD join UPND.
Other two purported senior NEC members went in the above outlined places, correcting signatures with intention to take MMD members to go to join UPND in a bid to get an appointment from the new Dawn government, and in most areas, quorums were not even formed as required by the party constitution. Now my question is, who will receive these petitions when the purported president together with his vice president, the administration and the national secretary are the ones correcting the signatures from provinces, when it is supposed to be the province petitioning the NEC through the office of the national secretary? In this regard, the founder members of MMD, drawn from all 10 provinces, took an action against Elizabeth Chitika in Lusaka, High Court of Zambia, sued in her capacity as MMD National Secretary, and Dr. Nevas Mumba under the cause number 2021/HP/0305, wherein the convention which elected the purported current leadership of MMD is being challenged.
We've come to the end of the news, but before we go, here are the headlines once again. 42-year-old physically challenged man of KANYAMA compound in need of financial support. By-elections a necessary evil to advancing democracy charges gears. Thank you for watching. I am Precious Mzea Sakaleji. Good afternoon.